Bask until they've had enough and they've got enough energy to get up and move around, catch some food, have a bit of a feed. Once they get too hot, because there is a point where they do get too hot, they will go and have a sit in the shade, or they will soak in a mud wallow. So they basically dig and dig and dig till they've got a nice big hole. It fills up with some rain here, it's the hose, and they will soak in that for most of the day. They absolutely love it. It's kind of like a pig in mud. They love it. So on diet, they have a pretty varied diet. We class them as opportunistic herbivores, so eating primarily them to stay thriving in their natural environment for generations to come. So we have a lot of conservation projects that we're involved in, whether it be ours or through offshore projects that we give funding to. All you guys have helped with that.
Oh, they're frogs.
They don't live in.
4 snakes in there, you were 4. That's the ones they call.
Oh, they've got a look. There's a door there. That's how the carers are in.
like to hear. My name is Caitlin, if we haven't already met.
And my name is Mel, but before we go any further, we would love to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Gubbi Gubbi, and pay our respects to elders past, present and future.
Thanks, Mel. Well, before we kick off the Wildlife Warrior Show, we'd like to have some fun and get to know all of you.
Yeah, so true, and today we want to have a bit of extra fun because we're filming some content for our YouTube channel in case you haven't already noticed. So, we are recording. Everyone say hi to YouTube! Yay! I love it! That is awesome! We're doing a sneaky behind the scenes episode, so make sure you have a look at our page over the next month or two. You can spot yourself. It's going to be lots of fun, but let's get on with the show.
Righto. Well, who is visiting us today for the very first time?
70 kilograms. Your crocodile today is Casper.
260 million years ago, dinosaurs roamed the earth. And you're about to meet one of these living fossils, a link to the creatures of the past.
There are 27 species of crocodilian found around the world, from alligators to gharials, from caimans to true crocs. They're the world's most perfect and unchanged predator. They've survived challenges and errors where so many others have failed.
And most impressive of all, it's Australia's apex predator, that animal that towers above all other species of reptile. And leading the team today, we have Nero. Please make him feel welcome. It's the Australia Zoo Croc Team!
Cheers, guys. Look, I hope every day so far has been a whole lot better. So Casper is slowly making his way out. Now, with Casper's help, we're going to show you exactly what not to do around crocodiles. Myself and Bruce are going to make some pretty massive mistakes. You do the complete opposite of us, you'll be fine. You go up to North Australia, you might even be lucky enough to see a croc out in the wild, but you can come back in one piece. Obviously, that's what's most important. Now, as Casper comes out, you might notice he's a little bit different in coloration to the other crocodiles you might have seen around the zoo. So he's really light in coloration. He almost blends into the bottom of his pond. Now, out in the wild, this coloration would stick out like a sore thumb. So a crocodile like this probably wouldn't survive in the wild. He would get picked off when he's small. Everything wants to eat a baby crocodile. So you probably wouldn't see a fully grown crocodile of this coloration. But here, he loves it. He's definitely a crazy crocodile. And you'll see in a second when he comes out, he fires on all cylinders. So he is cruising at the moment at the bottom of the pond, and he's super cunning. So he hunts through vibration. So he can feel something as small as like a bandicoot or a rabbit walking around the water's edge without having to pop up, without having to show himself. But the biggest mistake people make up in Northern Australia isn't just walking too close to the water's edge. I guarantee, I mean, it's stinking hot, people want to cool down, there's probably someone doing this. They're in the water, you know, they're knee deep to get a better spot to have a fish, if not right out in the middle because it's stinking hot and they want to cool down. No idea, this big crocodile is slowly making his way over, not showing off his big bulky body or his big scary teeth. Super cunning. He's waiting for that animal to stay in the wrong spot for long enough so he can creep on over, get set up. He's a weapon.
That was a pretty good strike by Casper. But when he means business, he can strike from the tip of his nose to the base of his tail in literally the blink of an eye. So hard and fast. There isn't an animal out there that can get out of the way of that initial strike. Crocodiles, they generally attack for one of two reasons. One was food, as you've just seen, and the second is territory. So Nero, do you want to get back in the water and see if we can get a territorial response out of Casper?
Not really after that strike.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right, so he's running back to the water, but if I jump back in and start splashing around again behind him, even though he might be locked onto Bruce over there, he goes back under, goes back into his hunt and stalk mode, and now he's under, he thinks I can't see him. He thinks he's this unseen predator in this dark, dirty, murky water like he would be found out in the wild. Super instinctual, so he thinks that if he stays under, or just pops up and shows those couple of points in his head, so he's got his nose, his eyes and his ears, so he's got all of his senses exposed without showing off his big body. He thinks that I won't notice the big crocodile right there. So he hopes that this silly animal stays in the water a little bit too long. You can imagine up in North Australia, he's relying on those animals making a mistake, coming down to the water's edge, having a drink next to the river, or crossing the river. So a kangaroo or a feral pig might have to cross from one side to the other. So he is trying to catch those animals out by outsmarting them. So he's got a frontal lobe in his brain, so he can learn and remember patterns and behaviours. So he knows exactly what's going on. He's learning those animals that are coming down to the water's edge. Mammals tend to be creatures of habit, so he will learn that time they normally come down, the area they normally come down, they do the same thing every single day. He's just sitting just like that, under a low-lying branch, or right out in the middle of the river system where no one's noticing that big crocodile, and he will wait there until the animal gets a bit too comfortable, a bit too confident. They stay in the water a little bit too long. That's when he comes on over, he sneaks in. Now he can hold his breath for about 8 hours. 8 hours if he wants to. So he can just come to that exact spot, set up underneath the water surface, stay beneath the water surface, feel those vibrations of the animal coming up to get their drink like they have been every single day. And all of a sudden, when they least expect it, hello big boy. Boom, strikes out. I miss that move where he can just grab it just underneath his chin. He's such a fast. So he strikes out, he grabs the food, he'll probably pull it straight back to the water, he might do a couple of death rolls to disorientate the animal, and he will sink to the bottom. And I mean, a mammal in a panic state is not going to hold their breath for longer than 20 seconds. I know I can't hold my breath much longer than that if I got grabbed by a crocodile. But he will just wait the animal out. Once it stops kicking, he can then go apart by tearing it apart. He's got those big teeth in his mouth, so he creates a bit of a dotted line when he bites down. Then he shakes his head from side to side, tears chunks off, and he eats as much as he can. When he can't eat, he'll just let it float down the river system, and he gets taken out by either crocodiles, any other animal that wants to take advantage of that meat. So he's super helpful for the ecosystem. He's that top of the food chain, apex predator, so he plays that really integral role in the whole of the North Australian ecosystem. But right now, he's just playing it cool. He knows exactly what I want him to do. He knows that I want him to come back in the water so we can do another feed. But he knows if he stays there a little bit too long, he's going to try and grab this meat strip with his big chopsticks to the mouth. You can do it, mate. There we go. Good job, mate. So he will come back into the water and hopefully he will go back into that hunted stalk mode. I want to show you another form of strike he can do. Another wood. So as he drags his big heavy body back to the water, good boy. So we've shown you 2 strikes on the water's edge. They're pretty good strikes. There's another form of strike that he's really good at that will show you. We've got this ramp. Thank you, mate. So you can imagine a low-lying branch. This is what it's trying to imitate. So a bird overhanging the water, a possum, a flying fox. He's cruising over and he's getting set up underneath that low-lying branch. Now, up in North Australia, like the flying foxes roost in thousands over the water. They're hanging nice and low, so he can pop up underneath that low-lying branch. He can lock onto that movement. He'll angle his head straight up, plant his feet, build the power up, launch up, pluck it, pull it back in. So super amazing form of strike. He'll literally do this from as soon as he hatches out of his egg. So when he does hatch out, he's about 15 centimeters long. So super cute, super tiny, but everything wants to eat a baby crocodile. So he's hiding out in the reeds along the bank to try and stay safe. And he starts to do what's called the tail walk. Wait, come here, mate. No, up here. Where he will set up and he will strike straight up and grab little insects, little reptiles, and he's doing it this size, and even bigger, just taking those bigger food items. So it's something you have to keep in mind. You've got to watch out for that tail walking croc. But we'll bring him out one more time over here. We've got a big piece of KFC he's been waiting for, so we'll get him all right up and we'll sort of put him to the test. We'll see how fast. He's nice and keen how fast he can run, how fast he can chase us down. Once he's out of the water, once he's done his strike. Here we go. So once he's done before you. Jumping fella. Once he's done a strike, that's the fastest you'll go. There you go, mate. Give it up for him. Absolutely working hard.
So, as Nero said, you can tell Casper, he's designed for that initial strike from the water's edge. That big tail, it acts like a rudder. It powers him out of the water and he's able to ambush those prey items. When he's out on land, we're only a couple of meters away from him and he has no interest in coming anywhere near us. He just wants to get back to the water where he knows he has a chance of catching us if we make that mistake of going too close to the edge. Now these guys, they're one of the easiest apex predators in the world to avoid. They're basically only dangerous when you're in and around the water's edge. If you go to Africa, lions can swim, they can run, they can climb trees. Bears in America, way more dangerous than crocodiles. They're the easiest animal in the world to avoid. They're also one of the most important apex predators. These guys, they're like the roof on your house. They're controlling all of the sick, the weak, the unwise animals. They're keeping all our rivers really healthy and resilient. So it's really important that we protect them. And by teaching you guys a few simple rules on how to stay safe when you're up in croc territory, that allows us to protect these guys. You've seen them do a couple of strikes from the water's edge. If you stay about 4 to 5 meters back from the edge of the water, the crocodile is not going to be able to strike out and get you. They can strike about half their body length. So working off the biggest croc ever caught, if you stay 4 to 5 meters back from the edge, you should be out of that strike range. As soon as we start to go nearer to the water and Casper can feel our vibrations and our footsteps, he starts setting himself up, coming in for a strike in the hopes that he's going to catch a food item. But as soon as we back off, he loses all interest. He knows he's not able to chase us down on land. The second rule, Nero showed you on the tail walk, is simply don't overhang the water. Up in North Queensland, Northern Australia, there's lots of beautiful big melaleuca trees hanging out over the river. Just don't hang out on those trees, having a fish, reading a book. These guys can strike over half their body vertically up out of the water, and there have been people taken by that tail walk method. And the third rule, and it seems really stupid we even have to say it, but don't go into the water with saltwater crocodiles. Crocodile territory is pretty much from Gladstone all the way up the coast of Queensland, across the territory and down to about Broome in Western Australia. So anywhere in that area, don't go in the water. There's no need for us to go out in the ocean swimming. There's plenty of pools and lagoons available. When you are out in the water, when we're having a swim and knocking around, we're giving off a signal to a crocodile that essentially there's a half-dying animal in the water. We're not the most graceful people when we get in the water. So if you stay back from the edge, stay out of the water and don't overhang the water, you're really never going to have a problem with one of these crocodiles. As I said, they're one of the most important animals we have in Australia. And if we can keep you guys safe, that allows us to keep the crocodiles safe in the hopes that they'll be around for another couple of million years. They've been on the planet for over 200 million years in one shape or form. They've adapted to be just the most perfect predator around. Now we don't expect you guys to leave today loving crocs like we do. Myself, Nero and the crew, we get to work with them every day, so we're obviously incredibly passionate about these animals. But what we do hope is that you can leave with a little bit more respect and appreciation for the really important role they play up in our northern rivers. Now Steve-O up there on the big screen, he loved crocs with everything he had, and that was no secret to anybody. And what he did was pass his passion on to all of us here at Australia Zoo, and hopefully some of you guys as well. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank you for coming to the zoo today and helping us to keep Steve's dream and this planet alive. Thanks for coming guys, and have a safe trip home.
My dad taught me from a very early age, be at one with the snake, feel its up, and I am. I've got to get the camera, I've got to be right in there. I have to get right fair smack into the action. Here we go, look at this, look at this. I'm going to push it, I'm going to push it to the limit. Danger, 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 danger. Like a shark on a croc under the water. In the hand, scarping you. That I can gather from this one group. He's looking Here's Terri. This kid's right. He's the biggest predator around it. You're gonna bite me. Are you gonna bite me? Conservation is my job, my life, my whole persona. And it's my job, it's mine. I'm on top of the world. I'm gonna push it to the limit. I get to do the wildest things in the world. I'm gonna push it to the limit. I'm on top of the world. I'm gonna push it to the limit. I get to do the wildest things in the world. This is what a dream come true. Come with me, share with me. Come with me, share my world like me.
So what, you reckon go at that one? I think it might be a nice spot as well. We either have to look at those costs, we either have to go down and out. Yeah. Walk up to line number 8 or something.
When do where's the lava?
What time does it take to go up? It might be about
Why do we want to do that?
yeah.